I'm a big fan of the goddess. In fact, I would go so far to say that I am the goddess, not the goddess, but I am an emanation. Don't I always say the divine in and through and as you? Well, the divine for me, thank you to the initiation that really came to me. I can't even take credit for asking for it. The universe set it up. And by the end of December in 2014, the divine had changed 180 degrees for me. After decades of addressing the divine as dear God, and I have a lot of books to show for that conversation, suddenly my hand wouldn't write it. And it had to come out, as it does every day now. Beloved vibration of Sophia, exclamation point. And this was the goddess waking me up. This was the goddess entering my body. I discovered, realized, was shocked to discover that the God I had been praying to, writing to for 60 years, 65 years, didn't fit in my body. And when God fits in your body, everything changes. That same year, I had Hallie Iglehart Austin on my first show, The Soul Directed Life, with this magnificent new edition of her. This is just the ultimate. This is so important. Image after image, isn't that a wild image? Of the goddess from all cultures, all traditions. She introduces us to the heart of the goddess. This book was my first education. And I've treasured it and had it on my very important, those books are permanent, my Divine Feminine books. Because of Hallie, I fell in love with Merlin Stone, and when God was a woman. Because of Hallie, I fell in love with Demetra George, Mysteries of the Dark Moon. Because of Hallie, just door after door after door open, culminating next year in an initiation to be the goddess in and through and as you, Goddess Rising. So when I think about who do I want to have a conversation about prayer with, Hallie immediately popped into my head because I want to know how this intimate relationship with the goddess has transformed her prayer life. I want to know, can we pray as the goddess? And that is what I hope to do on Praying at the Speed of Love, episode 17, coming tomorrow in perfect timing on Halloween. Because Halloween is a very, very sacred pagan, and I say pagan as the highest vibration. This is when all of humanity stepped into that remembering, that honoring of the cycle of life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth. The dead aren't dead, right? We're honoring them, we're celebrating, we're becoming them, we're praying not just for them, but with them. We're dancing. You've got to love the Mexican celebration, the Day of the Dead. I mean, how much fun can you have, right? So I asked Hallie if she would come and talk about how she prays. And when I sent her the invitation and some of the questions that we typically, how did you pray as a child? How has your prayer life evolved? She wrote back and said, no one's ever asked me these questions. I can't wait to be on Praying at the Speed of Love. Well, and that's what all the guests say, because people don't ask those questions. There is, as far as I know, no other podcast, radio show, conversation about how do you pray. So we're going to be praying with Hallie, but I think we're really praying with and in and through and as the goddess, because you know, the goddess has been the divine presence for 40, 50,000 years. These images, some of them are very modern, but many of them are very, very ancient. People have been honoring and celebrating the goddess in all her forms for thousands of years before patriarchy. Patriarchy, you know, is not that old, 5,000 years. But some of these images go back 50,000. Okay, let's look at this one. The Great Goddess of Lascelles. This is a calendar. This is a goddess. This is probably the first calendar. The 13 notches are, of course, the 13 moons. This is what humanity worshipped in 20,000 BCE. So, welcome, Goddess. Welcome, Hallie. And welcome to you on Halloween for the 17th conversation in praying at the speed of love.